Okay, so moving on here to the government shutdown. This happens every year or every cycle. It's every year, every couple of years where they redo the budget. It turns into a big battle from both sides, and each side blames the other as to the reason that the shutdown is happening. When Republicans are in charge, the Democrats blame them for not being reasonable and coming up with a solution. When the Democrats are in charge, the Republicans turn around and say that it's the Democrats being unreasonable, and that's the reason that we can't come to a resolution. It's pretty much the same bullshit every time. There's overspending in our government for anyone that wasn't sure about that. And it's something that needs to stop, period, regardless of political affiliation. But one of the hot button issues that's involved in this, because it usually comes down to that, is apparently the Democrats want kind of a universal health care. They want everybody to be covered, but they want illegal immigrants to receive um, health care as well. So once again, you've got a situation where the Democrats are focusing on illegal immigrants, which is their new voting base that they're importing into the country. And that's who they want, right? I mean, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. So if you come into the country illegally and one particular side is saying, we don't want you here, you're here illegally, and the other side is saying, come on in, here's some EBT and SNAP benefits, here's a credit card with some money to live, and here's a free hotel that you can stay in while you get situated in the country. If you're able to vote, which one are you going to vote for? And you're going to go for that one. And we're going to talk about the illegal immigrant that was a superintendent at a school and registered as a Democrat for any of those Democrats that are saying illegals aren't voting. I mean, we've known that that's a lie from day one. Anyone that did their homework and looked into this situation, but now you've got even more tangible proof that happened. But here's one account here and one guy talking about the government getting shut down here.
Call this what this is, Chuck Schumer, and all you crazy liberals. Let's call it what it is. You're holding the government ransom for illegal immigrants. Forget the people who elected you. Forget the Constitution in which you're supposed to uphold. You want more money to pay for illegal immigrants to have medical insurance. But what about American citizens who can't afford medical insurance? What about Americans? What about us? You said you were for the people. I mean, I know better, but the people that voted for you, the lost liberal constituency that you have, a government shutdown? Why? So that you can support your new voter base, illegal immigrants. That's all it is. You are holding the government and the American people ransom. And it's time for your people to realize that and wake up. Put an end to this. Vote these people out. They've been in office for decades, and they have not done anything for you but open the borders.
So that was King Millennial on TikTok. I really don't know anything about him, but there were some of his thoughts on it. Now we'll go here to J.D. Vance, who came in and talking with what the hell's her name? I can't remember the press secretary's name now. I'm having a brain fart. But here's some thoughts on that from him.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Caroline Levitt.
Packed house here today, and I have a very special guest with us, the Vice President of the United States. He'll deliver some remarks and take some questions. First, I just want to share remarks of my own. Democrats in Congress have officially shut down the United States government. House Republicans passed a nonpartisan, clean piece of legislation to extend current government funding until November 21st. But nearly every single Democrat senator voted against this bill. To be clear, this was the exact same bill that Democrats approved 6 short months ago in March, just adjusted for inflation. This is the same kind of clean funding bill that Democrats passed 13 separate times when they held the majority during Joe Biden's administration. So the American people woke up this morning and asked the obvious question: why is the government shut down right now? The answer is pure partisan politics being played by the Democrat Party. The Democrats shut down the government because President Trump and the Republicans will not force American taxpayers to pay for free health care for illegal aliens. America is $37 trillion in debt. We cannot afford to provide taxpayer-funded free health care to illegals who broke the law to enter our country. To put this all into perspective, the Democrats refused to keep the government open over health care to illegal aliens and now have jeopardized critical health care programs for American citizens instead. The Women, Infants, and Children program, community health center funding, Medicare treatment options, and other health programs are now all at risk because of the Democrats rejecting the clean CR. The most vulnerable in our country are being punished because the Democrats want to prioritize illegals over American citizens. And if Democrats actually cared about health care, they would applaud the actions taken by President Trump just yesterday in the Oval Office. He took a bold and massively popular action to improve our healthcare system. He announced the first agreement with a major pharmaceutical company, Pfizer, to lower drug costs for Americans. This is a historical achievement long sought by past Democrat presidents that only President Trump was able to get done. Also yesterday, while the Democrats were whining about health care for illegal aliens, President Trump signed a powerful executive order to supercharge American AI innovation and unlock cures for pediatric cancer patients in the United States. While President Trump took action to lower drug prices and improve the lives and the care of American children with cancer, again, Democrats are fighting to give health care benefits to illegal aliens. The Trump administration is fully committed to lowering healthcare costs and advancing policies that will save American lives. But right now, we need to keep the government open and funded. And individuals and organizations across the political spectrum, across the country, agree with the Trump administration and Republicans. The labor union leader, the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, sent a very blunt message to Democrats over their destructive antics. He said American workers are not bargaining chips. Senators need to stop screwing around and pass the House-passed clean short-term funding bill. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the world's largest business organization, called to immediately pass the Republican clean CR, saying, quote, shutdowns are harmful to the economy, the American people, and our national security. And even Democrat Senators Cortez Masto and Fetterman acknowledged that their party is betraying the American people with this costly and chaotic Democrat shutdown. Enough is enough. Democrats need to stop sabotaging our country and holding the American people.
Okay, let's see what J.D. Vance, a little bit of J.D. Vance has to say.
Good afternoon to everybody, and good afternoon to everybody who's watching at home. It's a tough act to follow, but let me just say a few things, and then I'll take a few questions. Number one, Democrats say that they care a lot about lowering health care costs, and yet when the president took historic action to work with the drug companies to lower prescription drug prices, the Democrats did nothing to help us. In fact, we would have loved to have the Democrats helping us, but they didn't. They talk about doing something. They don't actually do the hard work of making it happen. What they have done instead is to shut down the government because we won't give billions of dollars to health care funding for illegal aliens. That is what has actually happened. To the American people who are watching, the reason your government is shut down at this very minute is because, despite the fact that the overwhelming majority of congressional Republicans and even a few moderate Democrats supported opening the government, the Chuck Schumer AOC wing of the Democratic Party shut down the government because they said to us, we will open the government, but only if you give billions of dollars of funding for health care for illegal aliens. That's a ridiculous proposition. Let me say two other quick things, and then again, I'll take some questions. Number one, we all understand that Democrats and Republicans have policy disagreements. The Democrats want to do things. Look, when Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries were in here a couple of days ago, they made some suggestions that the president was more than happy to say, yes, let's sit down and talk about how we can solve the health care crisis that we inherited from the Biden administration. But it's one thing to say that we should solve the health care crisis for Americans. It's another thing to say that we're going to shut down the government unless we give the Democrats every single thing that they want, which, as Caroline says, says includes giving billions of dollars of taxpayer funding for health care for illegal migrants. That's ridiculous. You don't have policy disagreements that serve as the basis for a government shutdown. Let's have the conversation about how to fix American health care, about how to make health care more accessible. As the president showed, he's more than willing to act on behalf of the American people for this very reason. What you don't do is say, unless you do exactly what we want to do as congressional Democrats, we're taking hostage. And the hostage, it turns out, is critical, essential services that the American people need. Caroline talked about some of it. Let me talk about some more. Our troops are not getting paid starting today because of the Chuck Schumer wing of the Democratic Party. We have people who require food assistance, low-income Americans who require food assistance, who will not get it unless we reopen the government, thanks to Chuck Schumer and his wing of the Democratic Party. We have flood insurance as we start hurricane season in the southeastern part of our country. That flood insurance is going to disappear because of Chuck Schumer and the far left of the Democratic Party. We need to reopen the government. Let's fix America's problems. Let's work.
So there's some of his words. It'll go on. It'll kind of be the same thing. But both sides try to scare you about what's going on. They'll say the national parks, you won't be able to go. They'll be closed. You should be able to go to those no matter what. They should be free. They're funded by taxpayer dollars. You shouldn't have to go in there and then additionally pay for parking or pay as an entrance fee. So who gives a shit if the parks are, just walk into the park and go. You don't need to, in my opinion. You don't need the park rangers and the other ones there to just be hanging out and charging you to drive in. I understand the part about if you're injured, you trip on a rock, you break an ankle, you want someone there in close proximity that can assist you with a medical situation, or maybe you become lost or something. But there has to be other things that you can use in order to help you with that. National parks should be free. The troops and others not being paid, Social Security checks not going out. As soon as the matter is resolved, everyone will receive a retro check for everything that they're owed. So for the time frame that this was going on and they didn't receive a check, they will end up getting a check for the entire amount for the time frame that this went on, and it will be sent to you. So it's a question of living and balancing your budget while while this happens. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's a difficult thing, but you should have been putting some money aside realistically for a rainy day. And this happens every single year. Pretty much, they both sides, it breaks down. For 8 times out of 10, they don't agree to fund the government, and we run into this situation. There's 2 other times where they're able to agree with it. They pass some bullshit budget bill, and then everything keeps on going, and there's no interruption. But for the most part, it ends up coming to this situation where they can't negotiate on everything. Everyone is going to be paid. Oh my God, the troops aren't being paid. Social Security checks aren't being, Meals on Wheels or something isn't going out. When it gets resolved, it'll all go back to normal. It'll be done again. It's just figuring your life out to get through this one little particular circumstance, which every American does to one degree or another, whether you're on assistance or you're just living regular life and you run into a situation, a rainy day, and you're pulling from your emergency accounts in order to fix the problem. We all have to do it. No one gives a shit that you're going through a difficult situation. You and your family and whatever, you end up having to figure it out. And everyone, for the most part, finds a way to figure it out, even with sacrifices being made. Sacrifices are being made here as well. We're not giving money. We're not giving health coverage to illegal immigrants. Too much has been given to them already. They've been allowed to come into the country. No repercussions for their actions. They've been allowed to stay in hotels and take up the hotels and the areas that they're all living in. They're given free EBT and credit cards in order to be able to live. No repercussions for their actions. They're allowed to go on the streets and either attack American citizens or use the free taxpayer money they were given in order to make purchases at supermarkets or other places and then turn around and sell it on the streets of New York. That was one of the things that was happening. So there are legal vendors with a permit selling their food and selling their goods. Right next to them are illegal immigrants who use taxpayer dollars to go to the store and buy goods and Gatorades and waters and sell them at double the price to put the money in their pocket. and it was taxpayer money that helped him do it. Now the Democrats want to give him health coverage as well. And to be clear, this is something where I split off from my party with this. I believe health care is a fundamental right for every human being. Every legal human being in your country should get it. That's my opinion. I know that's easier said than done because it ends up being, when you've got universal health care in Canada, you got universal health care in the UK, etc. It's still taxpayer dollars that are paying for that. Nothing's free. So I know that's easier said than done, but I believe that health care for people is a human right. But for the legal citizens of your country, not the illegal citizens of your country, the people that just snuck in the door and are helping themselves to raping your country, don't also deserve the benefits that you and I all have. They absolutely do not deserve health care. This needs to be taken out of the bill. And you know what? For the regular old Joey bag of donuts, all of us, this government shutdown will do absolutely nothing to us at all. It means nothing. It's just a fight. It's just a fight going on in the government. And for the majority of us, it won't affect us at all. And you know what? Keep it shut down, as far as I'm concerned, until you make real decisions and real headway on the overspending in this government and making sure the money is not going to places that it should not be going. All right, that's the updates for today. Please like, share, support, and subscribe to the show. TikTok, YouTube, and Rumble is where you can find the show. Thanks, everybody, for all the new members that have been joining us on all three platforms, and I'll talk to you all again real soon.